If someone were to ask me what a dish I thought was the most unifying globally, I'd probably say chicken and rice. No matter the cuisine, the people I visited, or the economic status, a variation of this dish exists. The jungle fowl bred until we have the modern day chicken, nourishing the world and yet remains under the radar. This story reminds me of pigeons, really. We reward and applaud until they no longer suit us, forgetting that we played a major role in making them what they are today. I think our so-called staples should be celebrated. Far too much has been taken for granted. Rice is another example of a food that is often overlooked. Rice and chicken have so much meaning, and a lot of meaning to me. With the powers combined, nothing can really go wrong. At least it is so in my mind. As a child, I was sick quite a bit. A good deal of the time, really. Much of it was characterized by nausea and vomiting and generally just feeling unwell, which you may know can be pretty tough on the stomach. Over time, you don't particularly want to eat, especially if you've been at it for a few days. Getting back to eating solids was a very specific journey. It took time and love and care and attention. Many of those aspects were brought to me by people who cared about me, like my grandmother and my mother, and rice and chicken played a huge or significant role. This journey would begin with just a little bit of warm water with honey and lemon juice, slowly allowing electrolytes to come back to the body and allowing the stomach to be okay with taking things in. That wasn't just a tiny bit of water every hour or so. My mom would then cook rice in a lot of water. And once the rice was cooked, she would bring me just the rice water. And I would sip on that for a little bit, and then she'd add a little bit of butter and a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and I would have a little bit of that. And eventually she would add in the rice as well, and with a bit of the rice water and the rice and the butter and the cheese, and so it would be, and the smell of rice. And the minute it would stay down, it would signify, now it is happening. The road to recovery has begun. And just the smell of rice cooking today brings back those really strong memories. A time of recovery, a time of love, a time of patience, a time where even though it seemed like it was never going to end, it would. Once the rice would stay down and it would be happy and my stomach would be happy and it didn't feel like everything was going to expel from every possible area, then my mother would make a kind of chicken soup. And then I would have the chicken soup and then a few more veggies and then mix it all together and then with the rice and the chicken, and it became this wholesome thing that I absolutely adored. It became something that meant it was going to be okay. That no matter what, it was going to be okay. Because now that it was happening, now that it was in my belly, I knew I would be able to find some kind of peace and go back to some kind of normalcy as well. Each stage of the recovery journey felt so soothing. I remember feeling so overjoyed when the rice would stay down, and I was so overjoyed when I could see the light at the end of the tunnel and the recovery road was finding its way down into its nice little cul-de-sac of calm. I spent so much time laying on a couch watching Ricky Lake, Xena, Hercules and infomercials, feeling unwell and wishing I could do anything, just do anything other than lie there. Even sleeping was a completely difficult task. I always struggled to sleep. I always kind of had these niggling pains. And the only thing that really took my mind off of anything that was going on in the moment was just watching crap on TV. And Yeah, if you grew up in South Africa, you're definitely aware of all of these shows and being able to watch those very mock ads while you're just lying there hoping that some kind of cartoon would come on. Now, every time I make rice, every time I make chicken, the smell really reminds me of that. It takes me back to that moment, and in particular rice, because rice was the first thing. Rice is what stayed down. Rice let me know that I was going to be okay. And as bland as it is, I will always love rice in all its forms. It truly brings me the kind of happiness that I struggle to find elsewhere when I feel so unwell. Even today, I still eat rice when I'm sick, or even when I'm just sad. It is that soothing. And it even helps me feel a little distant from what I'm feeling in that moment. You know, that little nostalgic reminder that it's going to be okay and you'll get through it. But you know, what I truly love about rice and chicken and rice as a dish is that no matter where you go in the world, you will likely find some kind of variation of this. And you will find it to be extremely soothing. Whether you go to a Japanese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Italian restaurant, there's always some kind of variation on that. And it can be very soothing for everybody. And I think it's something that many of us grew up with. And many of us can relate to that feeling of home when we eat it. So in all its, magnificence as a dish, its diversity, nostalgic and downright comforting nature, how can you not love simply just having chicken and rice? That's just how I feel about it. Absolute, pure joy. Food is powerful. Eating is so much more than just survival. It is how we weave our stories together, how we find communities, and where in our hearts we know we are home. It binds our individuality into a collective where we are able to flourish, nourishing every aspect of our being. This is what chicken and rice represents to me. Simple thought. A very simple thought, but an important one, I think. Let me know, what is your dish that brings you such comfort?